Have you ever met someone and instantly felt drawn to them? Not because they were exceptionally good-looking or successful, but because something about their presence made you feel good. That magnetic quality isn't magic, it's a skill that anyone can develop. Think about the last social gathering you attended. There was probably that one person everyone wanted to talk to. They weren't necessarily the loudest or most accomplished person in the room. They simply had a way of making others feel valued. I struggled with this concept for years. Growing up, I was the awkward kid who tried too hard, making jokes that fell flat, agreeing with everything others said, and essentially shape-shifting into whoever I thought people wanted me to be. The result? People sensed my inauthenticity from a mile away. The problem wasn't that I lacked social skills. The problem was that I approached relationships like transactions. I believed being liked was about what I could offer others: entertainment, validation, or usefulness. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People sat on my nightstand for months, yet I was missing the core message. One evening at a friend's dinner party, I watched a woman named Sarah interact with the group. She wasn't particularly witty or charismatic in the conventional sense. Yet everyone gravitated toward her. When the night ended, I realized she hadn't talked much about herself at all. Instead, she had done something radical. She had genuinely listened. This observation sparked my journey into understanding the psychology of likability. What I discovered was both simple and profound. Being liked isn't about impressing others. It's about making others feel seen, heard, and validated. The science backs this up. Psychologist Carl Rogers pioneered the concept of unconditional positive regard, the practice of accepting and supporting others without judgment. When we offer this to people, they naturally feel drawn to us. Similarly, researchers at Harvard University found that people who ask questions, particularly follow-up questions, are better liked than those who don't. The secret lies in what psychologists call the reciprocity of liking effect. We tend to like people who show interest in us. It's wired into our social DNA. When someone gives us their full attention, it activates the same pleasure centers in our brain as when we receive material rewards. But here's where most people go wrong: they fake interest. They nod along while planning what they'll say next. They ask questions without really caring about the answers. People can sense this insincerity, and it pushes them away rather than drawing them closer. Real likability comes from genuine curiosity about others. It's about approaching each person as if they have something valuable to teach you, because they do. Everyone carries a universe of experiences, insights, and perspectives that you've never encountered before. William James, the father of American psychology, once said, "The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated." When you truly understand this, you hold the key to being instantly liked by almost anyone you meet. Let me share some practical ways to put this into action. First, practice full presence listening. When someone speaks to you, put away your phone, maintain eye contact, and resist the urge to formulate your response while they're still talking. Just listen. You'll be amazed at how this simple act sets you apart in a world where genuine attention is increasingly rare. Second, remember names and personal details. Nothing sounds sweeter to a person than their own name, as Carnegie pointed out. When you recall specifics from previous conversations, you signal that you value them enough to store that information. Third, validate emotions without jumping to fix problems. When someone shares a struggle, resist the urge to immediately offer solutions. Instead, acknowledge their feelings with statements like, "That sounds really challenging," or, "I can imagine how frustrating that must be." According to psychologist John Gottman, emotional validation is the foundation of all healthy relationships. Fourth, practice authentic affirmation. Look for genuine qualities to appreciate in others and express that appreciation specifically. Rather than a generic "good job," try, "I was impressed by how you handled that difficult customer with such patience." Fifth, be vulnerable. Research by Brené Brown reveals that vulnerability, sharing your imperfections, mistakes, and struggles, doesn't make people like you less. It makes them trust you more. Perfect people are admired from a distance. Relatable people are liked up close. I remember applying these principles at a new job where I knew no one. Instead of trying to impress my colleagues with my credentials, I asked about their experiences, listened to their advice, and shared my own uncertainties about the new role. Within weeks, I had built stronger relationships than people who had been there for years. This approach wasn't manipulative, it was authentic. I genuinely wanted to know my colleagues as people, not just professional connections. The likability that resulted was a natural byproduct of genuine connection, not a calculated goal. The philosopher Martin Buber distinguished between the I and it relationships, where we treat others as objects to be used, and an I and thou relationships, where we recognize the full humanity of the other person. The secret to being instantly liked is approaching each interaction as an I and thou encounter. This mindset shift changes everything. Instead of entering social situations thinking, "How can I get these people to like me?" you begin asking, "How can I make these people feel valued and understood?" The focus moves from you to them, and paradoxically, this is what draws people to you. Social psychologist Heidi Grant points out in her book Reinforcements that we often hesitate to ask others for help because we worry about burdening them. In reality, people enjoy being helpful. Asking for advice or assistance within reason can actually increase how much someone likes you, what psychologists call the Benjamin Franklin effect. But there's a deeper truth here beyond techniques and strategies. The real secret to being instantly liked is becoming the kind of person who genuinely likes others first. People who are beloved in their communities aren't following a checklist of likability tactics. They've cultivated a sincere interest in and compassion for those around them. This approach requires letting go of judgment. We all have a tendency to mentally critique others, whether for their political views, fashion choices, or communication styles. Each judgment creates a barrier between you and potential connection. When you catch yourself judging, try shifting to curiosity. "I wonder why they see things that way," instead of, "They're wrong." The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that we should be kind to all people we meet because they are each fighting a hard battle. This mindset, approaching others with the assumption that they're doing their best with the resources they have, transforms how people respond to you. I've seen this play out repeatedly in my own life. When I stopped trying to impress certain family members and instead became genuinely interested in understanding their perspectives, our relationships transformed. The same people who had seemed distant suddenly became warm and engaging. The beauty of this approach is that it works with almost everyone: friends, family, neighbors, colleagues, and even strangers. It works because it addresses a universal human need to be seen, heard, and valued for who we truly are. This doesn't mean you'll be universally loved. Some people will still dislike you for reasons beyond your control. But when you focus on making others feel good in your presence, you create a magnetic quality that draws most people toward you. So the next time you enter a room full of strangers or sit down with a difficult family member, remember, the secret to being liked isn't about impressing others with your accomplishments or wit. It's about making them feel like the most interesting person in the room. Because to them, they are. When we stop trying so hard to be liked and instead focus on truly seeing others, an unexpected thing happens. We become instantly likable.